to Shrink Wrapped. I'm Allison Colarosi here with my husband, Dr. David Colarosi, and we are here to talk about popular psychology, answer listener questions, mostly my questions, and get into a little pop psych true and false. You ready to go?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. You know what I'm disappointed about?
What?
The elf. No one found the elf today.
Where'd you put it?
On the bookshelf reading a book so that I could read him to the kids. And I gave you a heads up like, hey, we should read a book.
Oh.
And
if you had put it over the TV.
So now we're a day behind.
If you would have put it on the TV, I would have found it.
True.
Yeah.
I'm good. Closing out the year for work, so very excited about taking some time off.
Yeah, I have been swamped, but you should be proud of me that I'm not going to take any work next week.
So are you trying to move away, like Mel Robbins said, from work addiction?
I don't feel like I have a work addiction. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I think you have a touch of it.
What if I like the work?
And she would say that work addiction, like, I feel like I can't remember what she said in her book, but like 70% of people have work addiction, and usually it's because they feel like they're connecting better with work than they are at home. Is that what's happening?
I don't know, but I don't believe Mel Robbins. How does she get that number 70%?
She does a lot of data, and by the way,
she's just asking people. Hold on, she's just asking people, do you think you're a workaholic? And 70% of whoever she surveyed said yes. But I'd like to run the numbers on how many hours those people are actually working. Like how is she? I mean,
well, I do feel like there is a weird sense of pride of always, like, one of the things she said in this book. Sorry to go on a tangent, but this book is really good. It's called Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and one of the things she said in the book was that like, it's a badge of honor to be constantly busy all the time and like on your phone and always taking emails, and I would agree with that. Like, you feel a sense of importance if you are looking at your emails. But again, right now, because I've been on Zoom all day, my eyeballs feel like they're going to fall out.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, because I like Mel Robbins, and I actually thought that book was a good book. I'm just trying to figure out if I feel like every once in a while we do this podcast, and it's a little bit of an intervention for me. Is that what's going on here?
100%.
Like I said, I don't know how to respond. I don't think I have a work addiction, but I like work. Right?
But remember when she talks about having office hours at home? Are you going to start doing that?
I do that.
No.
Now, I work. I feel like I do a pretty good job. I work till 5. I work till 5. I work till 5:30, and then I'm available for everybody until everybody goes to bed, and then I work till midnight or 1.
But I don't go to bed.
What?
I'm not in bed. I only go to bed because you go back down to work.
If you're awake, I will stay up and watch a movie or do whatever with you. Right?
Lie.
That's not a lie.
Lie.
Most of the time, I'm available.
Lie. Just say.
This is. It's a little bit of a lie. It's a half lie. I work
every vacation he works the entire vacation.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm turning over a leaf.
I just feel like Mel Robbins, if you're going to ever listen to us, Dr. David Colarosi needs an intervention. Okay. I like that book, by the way.
I do too. I'm just trying to think of, I'm trying to have like a more nuanced response to her other than just be like, yeah, okay, I got that problem. And so I want to criticize her data, but I don't know really how she got her data. And maybe a lot of people are workaholics, and maybe I may have a hair of it. But I don't feel like I work because I don't like my home life. I just think I feel like I like what I do.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I just do it because it's a fun thing. Just going to bed isn't fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But maybe hanging out with me is fun.
That is fun. It is fun. It is fun.
So she, in her book, she, like, her second example, she she's talking to clients. And her second example, I feel like, is very good for women. So like women who are trying to get ahead in work, I think this is a great book because she had some really good advice about like how you show up in meetings if you want to get ahead. And I just thought it was phenomenal. So check it out. It's called Work It Out by Mel Robbins.
Wait, what did she say? How do you show up in meetings?
Well, I don't want to give it away, but just basically like the people whose mouths are closed and looking down on a Zoom call, they're not going to be getting ahead. This woman was complaining that she felt like everyone was taking advantage of her, and she was a director level. And so I felt like she had some good tips.
Yeah, I thought the book was good. If it's the one that, I think it's the book we were listening to when we were in the mountains.
Yeah, Work It Out.
Yeah, I thought it was, what's impressive about it is that the book is essentially a bunch of examples of her actually doing coaching. And it's something that I've talked about, doing a podcast where I would do coaching and find some way to be able to put that on YouTube or put that in a book or whatever. And that's an intimidating thing to sort of show what it's one thing to say, here's what I look like as a coach, or here's what I look like as a therapist. It's another thing to say, hey world, watch me do this activity. And the fact that she has a whole book where she goes through that like that, I think is pretty impressive.
I think you should do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think people would appreciate it. If anyone wants to volunteer for David coaching. Okay. So, did you do any Christmas shopping yet?
I've done 0 Christmas shopping. Except for you, I got a whole thing for you.
Lies.
I got so many
Lies.
There's so many things. It's really, I've been planning for your gift for months now.
Well, just so you know, I read a book about telling people what you need. And I need to feel special, and you need to have some thought. Okay? I'm just telling you what I need, so I'm not disappointed.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I need a new camera lens.
Okay. So one thing I'm interested about is let's get into our question. So one thing I'm interested about is we heard about a month ago that Tony Hsieh, the founder of Zappos, passed away in a house fire. And it was kind of surprising. Like, it just seems like a weird thing to just pass away in a house fire. Now, I know it happens, but it just seems odd. And he's famous because he built his whole company around having a good culture and a culture of service and a culture that like books about it. And so I think yesterday or the day before, it came out that actually he had barricaded himself so that he would pass away in a house fire. And I'm just curious. The whole thing is shocking to me and extremely sad. And I have my own thoughts about it, but I'm curious what you think about it.
Yeah, I wanted to do a video about it. I recorded 3 takes of 3 videos about Tony Hsieh, trying to figure out what I wanted to say about it. So first of all, I feel like it's everybody's saying, oh, I knew Tony Hsieh, or whatever, he impacted me in this way, and I didn't know him, but we did meet him with Todd.
Oh yeah.
And that he was like I interacted with him at a pivotal point in my career. At the time, I was a traditional therapist. I think I was like 1 year before graduating, or maybe 2 years before graduating in my doc program. And I wanted to go into the corporate world, and I was studying spirituality and meaning making, and I found that work really powerful. And then I read I was studying spirituality and meaning making as it relates to like therapy treatment. And I was being pushed by my advisor to look into the corporate world and do something like corporate culture because it was so much more marketable if I wanted to become a consultant. And then I met Tony and I read his book, Delivering Happiness. And I just found the book so powerful that it kind of opened up my eyes to, that corporate culture, there's meaning in the corporate world. So anyway, I really, really, really admire him. And then to find out that he passed away, it's just like a shocker. He was such a talented man. So anyway, I was trying to do a video on it, and I guess my only point that I have is that it's just so sad that he had such struggles with mental health, with depression, anxiety, drug and alcohol addiction, and that nobody knew about it, and that no one wants to talk about it, and that he died a month ago, and the media didn't talk about it. It feels to me like the media is uncomfortable saying, and maybe to protect his privacy, they're uncomfortable saying there's drug and alcohol abuse, or there's depression, or there's anxiety, or whatever. Now, if he had died of cancer, like Chadwick Boseman, there'd be no problem saying, hey, this was a colon cancer. And if, by the way, if you're 35 or 45 or whatever the age is, then you need to go get yourself tested. And we should be watching out for cancer. And, hey, donate to cancer research and all that kind of, it's like totally out there for us to talk about. But when it's mental health, no one wants to talk about it. And I just keep thinking back of how many people, celebrities have died because of drug and alcohol abuse, for example, or suicide, for example. And instead of the media coming out and saying, this was suicide, mental health is significant and important and we should deal with it, they say, we can't quite figure out what happened. And then you don't find out till 6 months later that it was suicide, and all the energy around it is gone. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity for people to focus on that, That was a long rant. What do you think?
I think it was a missed opportunity, and I feel like it's sad that there's still a stigma, even with all the media coverage of like the idea of mental health. There's ideas of mental health.
Yeah.
But there's still like the stigma of actually reporting on what's actually happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying mental health is important, but very few people saying I experienced suicidal ideation. Right? Like the gross, the damaging, the sad parts of it, we don't really talk about. We still sort of say, "Oh yeah, I have anxiety or I have panic attacks," but it's not. They don't really talk about what that's like to have a panic attack, or the emptiness they feel when they're feeling depressed. Right? They don't get it. You don't get a raw look at the mental health stuff.
Yeah. Well, and like most people lie probably like about that. Because I think I read an article by psychologists, and we might have talked about it earlier, about like the true questions that everyone has that everyone lies about.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, one thing, have you thought about dying? Or have you thought about suicide?
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently everyone has.
Yeah, super common. Like doing clinical interviews, I mean, I would say most people at some level have thought about that.
Yeah.
Right? And we act like it's never comes up.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really sad thing.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's sad that he didn't get the help he needed, and I think just like a talent lost to the world.
Oh, yeah.
So I am ready to do myths.
Okay.
Can we test your knowledge?
Yes. Yeah. But I would like, we're going to do, how like when they do like the political debates, how after the debate there's a fact checker about like how often Trump or Biden made something up. I feel like I need to fact check you, because last time you kept saying I was wrong, and I believe that the data would be in my favor. What is that? What is that? What is that?
Just you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Learning styles. Do people have learning styles?
True.
False. Do you want to know more about that?
Well, hold on. Can you define learning style?
Okay. According to a study in 2016 British Journal of Psychology by Roger Van Horn of the University of Michigan, or Center of Michigan Psychology or something. Have you heard the term pedagogic? Okay, so most effective pedagogic technique varies according to type.
I've heard it, but I'm not sure exactly. I think pedagogic means something about teaching. Like I think a pedagogue is like a professor.
Yep, I think you're right. That makes sense in this. Most effective pedagogic technique varies according to type of material, not the student.
Okay, hold on. This is what I'm talking about. The question wasn't, do schools leverage different learning styles?
No.
The question was, does somebody learn better by listening versus somebody learning better by writing?
But when they did the study, they were saying that people experience or like said that they learned better, like if it was a certain learning style. But in the study, it was not found to be correct, and it ended up being like they're trying to do a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it really was about the technique and not the person.
What does that mean? Okay.
The type of material, not the person. So people learned better in certain types of material, but not the person. It didn't vary.
Okay.
You didn't like that one.
So you're saying unanimously people responded better to one type of material than another?
Yep.
Okay. That's not how I would... Okay. All right.
Okay, here's another myth. Well, now I told you it was a myth, but I don't know. Do you think...
I'm still stuck on the learning styles one. They should have looked at per individual. Does Joe Blow learn better if I teach him X way versus Y way? Not teach 95 people Y way and then X way and say, well, they all like Y better. That might have been better material, but aren't we comparing how Joe does X versus Y?
Okay, you're getting too granular. I don't know. I'm just telling you that was considered a myth. Okay.
Disagree. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna skip the one that I gave away.
Wait, what is it?
I'm gonna skip the next one. Okay. Do you think that we have a finite amount of willpower?
True.
False.
Oh, come on. Yep. That's not true.
There was in 2006 there were studies saying that there were, and that was produced by the British Psychological Society, that people had limited willpower, so if they resisted a piece of chocolate cake during the day, they would be more likely to not be able to resist a secondary temptation later on.
Right.
Yep. That is a false thing. So they ended up doing 23 labs with over 2,000 participants. Tried to drain self-control, and it had close to zero effect on the subsequent self-control task.
How do they try to drain self-control?
They didn't explicitly say, but they were saying...
Oh my God. Allison, is this Psychology Today?
No.
What source is that?
Mindset.
The book Mindset? Carol's
no. What? It's similar to Psychology Today. It's another one.
Okay. Okay, I just need to know how they're trying to drain... How are they draining it? But there's a lot of research showing that you do have... you have decision fatigue. But in the beginning of the day, you have strong willpower. You're able to push things away. But if you force yourself to make difficult decisions all day, you will get lax at the end of the day.
But when did you graduate from your PhD?
She always does this where she says that I'm out of date on the research.
Because these studies came out in 2016.
Okay. They seem poorly done. All right, what else you got? Is that it?
Okay, no. Do you think women are more depressed than men?
I think that women are not more depressed than men, but I think women report being depressed more than men. But I think severity of depression, actually men are more severely depressed than women.
Okay. So women are more depressed than men. They're 2 times, but I don't know how they measured it, but they're 2 times as likely to be more depressed than men. And the Mayo Clinic has some thoughts. They think it's that this starts around puberty. And they think it's a transitional thing, like stressors at school, conflict with parents, gender confusion, PMS, pregnancy issues, or just like dealing with societal bias against women. There is another theory that I find really interesting, that it is adaptive for women to be depressed.
What's that?
It's the adaptive value of women having depression is that they have low energy, lack of interest, and suicidal ideations. And this helps them have people increase investment on them. So like the theory is that like if they are struggling with hard things that they can't do by themselves, having this depression helps them recruit others to help them. What do you think of that theory?
I mean, I kind of disagree with that theory. That's a bad way to get support.
I agree.
That's a really bad strategy. There's a lot of better ways to get making yourself. No. I wonder how they're. I mean, I feel like every time you give me a study, I'm always like, well, how do they actually do that? But that doesn't seem. I mean, more men kill themselves than women.
They're like they know how to do it better.
Their means are more lethal than women. But I think there's a very strong argument to say that men experience just as much, if not more, depression than women. But it's more socially acceptable for women to go talk about it. So if the Mayo Clinic is just looking at how many women come into our offices, that's a bad way to sample that.
Yeah.
But maybe let's just say women do have more depression than men. Maybe that was another study that happened after I graduated. But seems like the world's worst strategy to recruit support, being get really depressed and then hope people take care of you.
Yeah.
That seems maladaptive.
It does seem maladaptive. What would be the adaptive, another reason for it being adaptive? I've been trying to figure that out.
Another reason why depression's adaptive?
Yeah. Like, what's the value of depression?
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Do animals get depressed?
I don't know. I also don't know.
Sometimes I felt like Tyson was depressed, but I didn't know if it's because he had saggy jowls. Could
have been. I don't know.
Okay. Do you think wearing red attracts a mate?
I know the answer's got to be yes.
False.
Oh. I don't really know the answer. I thought that was.
So there were several studies done in 2006 that they only had 24 participants, but the men rated the women in the study that were wearing red as being sexier and more attractive than women wearing other colors. However, in 2016, in evolutionary psychology, they did 3 experiments consisting of 800 people, and there was no such effect.
Interesting. I've never heard a thing about it. I can just say that red is a like an inherently, I don't know what the right word is, provocative maybe. Red stands out, and so I would think like just like a bird, a peacock has bright colors so that they stand out. I wonder if maybe if you look at a woman or if you look at someone you're attracted to and they're wearing red versus black, doesn't matter. But if I said, go look at that crowd of people, and I put a Confederate in a red dress one time versus putting her in a black dress, the second time I bet you that she would get picked out more in the red dress.
Probably.
I don't know. Is that it?